Cal and Claire were a young couple thinking about the future. After talking it through, they decided to get into house flipping. As it turned out, that was easier said than done. They thought they had purchased a 2-bedroom flat in Scotland, but it turned out to be something way bigger with a whole lot of problems. Before we start, can we get this video to 1,000 likes? Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Claire and Cal meet each other while working in the French Alps. It was ski season, and the two quickly fell for one another on the mountain. The young couple knew they would have to move on from the Alps eventually. But when Claire was accepted into medical school and decided not to go, they had to develop a new plan. They thought for a while about what their future was going to look like. Then, they came up with an idea. Cal and Claire did not really know what they were getting themselves into when they decided to go into house flipping. All they knew was they had to start somewhere. So, they began researching flats that were on the market. Eventually, they found a flat in Glasgow, Scotland, which they thought would be perfect. While the young couple was very excited to start bidding on the property, little did they know that there were two others that were not part of their initial search. When Cal began to bid online, he was actually bidding on one of the other locations. They didn't find this out until they'd won the bidding war. When explaining what happened, Claire said, when he thought he was bidding on a 2-bedroom flat in East Pollokshields, Glasgow, he was actually bidding on the second unit up for sale at Jameswood Villa in Sandbank, Dunoon. Needless to say, the couple was not too happy when they realized what happened. But they decided to make the best of the situation. They decided to be house flippers, so Claire and Cal knew there was no going back. They had bid on the Jameswood Villa in Sandbank, Dunoon, and they were going to do what they could to make it ready for sale. The only thing was the villa, located on Scotland's Cowal Peninsula, was in major need of TLC. Looking at old photos of the mansion, it used to be beautiful. With a lovely yard and a sturdy foundation, Cal and Claire didn't think it would be too difficult to bring it back to life. That is until they saw the Jameswood Villa in person and saw just how much work they had ahead of them. The villa was 2 stories, separated into 3 units. But the most amazing part had to be the backyard. They had a lot of land to work with. There was so much space. The young couple decided they'd build a shed, a few patios, grow a vegetable garden, and even make a spare shelter with a pizza oven and fire pit. When they finally saw the villa in person, they didn't even know where to begin. While the front yard was a mess, the backyard was something else altogether. Tree branches were everywhere. There was trash. Moving around the villa, Cal and Claire noticed aspects of the mansion that were in dire need of repair. After looking around the 120-year-old mansion, it became clear why it was the same price as the 2-bedroom flat Cal and Claire previously had their eyes set on. Even though they accidentally bought the villa, it was theirs, and they were determined to bring it back to its former glory. Walking through the front door, Cal and Claire saw a crumbling roof, entire walls on the floor, broken furniture, and even a crow's nest nestled in the leaves, branches, and other garbage on the floor. Amazingly, this was also just the first room of the villa. They hadn't explored the rest quite yet. First, it was all about getting rid of the moldy old furniture. The first few days they were at the villa, it was spent getting all of the furniture together and transporting it to a nearby dump. After some more exploring, the young couple realized there were huge holes in various parts of both the floor and ceiling. It explained why all of the furniture had been so wet. It became clear that they were not going to be able to stay at the villa while they were renovating. The water had done some serious damage. Cal and Claire noticed that the drainage system throughout the villa was broken, leaking water throughout the entire grounds. Many people thought Cal and Claire were crazy for undertaking such a massive project. Even a civil engineer who came to inspect the villa thought they were better off demolishing the building and constructing something new. While there was a lot to do, Cal and Claire had a good idea of how they wanted to tackle their project. According to the couple, they wanted to build an environmentally friendly and sustainable property. They said, "We wanted to keep and reinstate the original beauty and character of our 120-year-old Victorian villa, while also making this energy-hungry building more energy efficient and equipped for modern living." After the furniture was disposed of, they got to work trucking out buckets of debris littered on the floor. According to the couple, We have to replace nearly all of the timbers in our home, but it's not an easy task. Once the first floor was set, they began digging a trench for ventilation and getting rid of the excess water in the villa. The digging took place both inside and out, as Cal and Claire knew they had to repair the water lines so they wouldn't have future issues. They didn't have a choice, though. The plumbing had to be fixed. While it took some time, the young couple figured it out. Next on their list was tackling electricity. It was tricky, though. They had to find a live wire to connect everything to, or else it was going to cost them a whole lot of money. Thankfully, they found one. Next, they were going to clean the exterior walls, which were made of red sandstone. Before they began using typical cleaning chemicals, though, they had a bit of research. One of the biggest structural issues the couple came across was one of the second-floor bay windows. It was holding on by a thread and could have come crashing down at any moment. Claire explained what the issue was and what they had to do in order to fix it. She said, "We have a cracked lintel between the ground floor and top floor and 2 cracked mullions upright stones at the bottom left corner. They need to be replaced." Going around the back of the house, it was clear a lot of structural work needed to be done. The stairs leading from inside to the backyard were disintegrating, the windows were falling apart, the roof needed to be redone, and the chimney needed new bricks laid down. So, once again, they got to work. The chimney was clearly very old and the bricks needed to be replaced. Their goal was to repurpose the bricks elsewhere on the property, such as the garden they wanted to eventually plant in the backyard. Along with the chimney, the entire roof had to be replaced. The young couple got to work dismantling it and had to be very careful doing so. After they did serious work on the exterior structure of the villa, including putting new bricks in the windows to keep the structure supported, they ventured back inside. It took a few weeks, but eventually Cal and Claire proudly declared that they had just gotten rid of the very last bits of lath and plaster in our house. The couple doesn't think of the villa as a mistake. Moving to the floor, Cal and Claire noticed that some of the antique beams supporting the floor were rotted. They would have to be replaced to ensure no one fell through the floor. The young couple couldn't believe all of the work needed to renovate the villa. But it was well worth it when everything started coming together. The couple was very happy with how their project was coming along, especially the upstairs. This way we can recuperate some of the costs of restoring the building. Finally, it was time to start thinking about where they wanted to have each room. Initially, Cal and Claire wanted to build a living space for guests with an office in the corner. After thinking it through, they decided it wasn't the smartest plan. They wanted friends and family to stay with them, so 2 bedrooms were constructed instead. They even decided to reconstruct the bay window, even though it was tricky and could have fallen down if done incorrectly. The cleaning, repairing, repurposing, and all of the renovations up until this point took Cal and Claire 2 years, and they still aren't completely finished with the project. Even so, according to the couple, they couldn't be happier with the purchase. According to them, buying the Jameswood Villa was the happiest mistake we've ever made.